What's up, everybody? Hopefully, you can hear me today. Um, so, what do we got? We got Jester and Ember and Austin and John. How's everybody doing? It's not morning here, but good morning to you, John. Um, so, yesterday we were, what's up, Seth? We were taking a look at interview with John Lennox, Behe, and Stephen Myer, and we didn't go a whole lot into it. It's a whole big long hour thing, and I don't necessarily think we're going to watch all of it. But we needed to continue a little bit more into it today. It's kind of fun. I have fun listening to creationists say the same stupid things over and over because it makes me feel like I know something. You can't hear me. John says he can hear me, and Jester says he can't. Can you hear me? Another 2 hours? Okay. How do you finally got time to come over here? Oh, what's up, Brainless Steel? Can you guys hear me? Sounds good. Okay. It's you, Jester. It's you. Or you're playing pranks on me. Uh, yeah, and definitely. And I try to keep up with the chat and read as many of them as I can. A lot of times while the video's playing and stuff, it's hard to. But yesterday, Ember and Peter from Gonna Go For It both joined me and talked a little bit about it. Peter had looked at this video before, and I didn't have Peter set up in my bot, so there it is now. And both of those people, it may take it a minute to actually post the links. I think it has to. There it goes. So yeah, okay, it worked right. I don't know why I was saying something about the bot though. You're stuck in an ad. Why are you? What it do? Freeze? That's been happening, I think, on YouTube lately. Um, for some odd reason, Sumami, that that cat that was on here last time, I don't remember his name. Trippy Cast. Uh, that person that was on here last time emailed me asking. I guess they went back and watched it and asked what it was you said that uh, the name of your ancestor was or something, and I just said I don't know. Like I don't know if you even are interested in where that goes or whatever. But I'm just telling you because I was asked. So on this very stream, I had to focus, quit all apps, and reopen YouTube. Well, I hope everything works out for the rest of it. But so anyway, we're going to take a look at the rest of that video today. I'll go ahead and start it here in a minute, but there's a link pinned in the chat. If anybody wants to join me and talk about what these idiots are saying, then you by all means can. If there's something else that needs our attention, I don't know, like something crazy happens, the government shuts down or something, we can talk about that. But the obviously we don't have to get into politics here, but the anyway, that's the plan for today, is to watch that. Saturday, Godless Engineer is going to come on and talk to me, and we are going to get into mythicism. And I've got quite the surprise for that show. There's some math that I think you could possibly use to show that the story is definitely myth. We'll get there, and I know that sounds like two things that don't go together, but I promise you, it's interesting. And GE being the expert on mythicism that he is, he's very well read on the subject. I think is an excellent time to talk about that. Now, I will be doing a video, whether it's recorded, it'll probably be recorded, where I go into depth on all of the the things that apply to this. And I'm not gonna. I don't want to give away what the theory and stuff is yet, because it's kind of a new piece to the conversation that I haven't heard anybody. I don't think anybody's ever brought this up, because it seems like something that wouldn't apply, but it actually does apply backwards through history to historical people and things. So anyway, Saturday 3 p.m. GE is going to be here. Please come check that out. That I would love to have a good crowd here to see that and everything. That being said, we're already over 20 people watching the stream, so we'll get right into it here in just a second. Before we do, though, let's... oh, sorry, I was reading chat. Before we get into it, though, thank you, everybody, for coming and watching. Thank you, everybody that's members and all that stuff. If you want to join and be a member, you can do it for as little as 99 cents. Click the join button below. If not, though, I mean, like and subscribe. That would be the awesome thing. Or, as Al says, you can lick and describe. That'll work, too. So, anyway, let me get this video up.
To know that they're not little blobs of jello.
Now, some of the stuff that we hit on yesterday that will have to be said again today. These three gentlemen all hold doctorates. They're not going to talk about any of that, though, because they use this to speak outside of their field about things that, it's were you to say, oh, hey, this is true, John Lennox or somebody, it would be an appeal to authority, because these people they're speaking outside of their expertise. They are not a reliable source for any of the things they're saying, and the things that they're saying, we will, I will, and if anybody joins, we will easily knock down. So this is like creationists' greatest hits right here is the arguments that I've heard so far in this. I've watched about, 10, 12 minutes of this altogether. And we're starting like 15 minutes in, so we're probably real close to everything I've seen of it. So, all right. Let's put this guy up here. I think his historicity is the church did a bunch of interpretations and forgeries and refused to acknowledge the lack of... Hey, we're going to talk about all that. And I've got because I've put together about 10 pages of stuff so far, and that was just working in a couple hours at about 3 o'clock this morning. And we're going to get into all the other sources and all that stuff, because it all applies to this, because there's the sources that they speak of, the math problem that I speak of, they fit into that nicely. The only thing that doesn't is whenever you start trying to tie it back to the eyewitnesses of the resurrection or to Jesus, you start getting infinities. And for those of you who know a little bit about math, that's not a good thing. And we're also, though, this ties into, I mentioned yesterday, my background in computer science. This ties into that too. So, and I know it seems like it doesn't, but I will lay it all out when GE gets here on Saturday at 3 p.m. So be here to check that out. It'd be an awesome show. GE and I, we may start out with that, and who knows, we may talk about whale dick the rest of the time. It's hard to tell. That's what happened last time he was here. So that was a joke, though. We're not really going to do that. But Behe does not have a PhD as a master's degree. I thought he was Dr. Michael Behe. I guess not. Okay. That makes sense, though. Either way, he's not talking. He's not talking from his background, really. He's making up something. Yeah, we'll get into it. Behe's whole thing is irreducible complexity, so that's what he's going to talk about, I imagine.
That's right.
You get inside a cell and you're looking at a city.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's right. It's got electrical apparatus, it's got vehicles, it's got information, it's got all sorts of things. And
No, it doesn't. Those are metaphors that people use to describe the workings of cells. It does not have those things, and that's really the mistake that people make when they do that. It's the same as like whenever you start calling DNA code. We have a code that we use to describe the different proteins and stuff in DNA, but DNA itself is not a code, and there's not those things in cells either. There's things that you can make that metaphor with, but his argument, I already know what he's talking about. I just skipped it to here and started. His argument that he's making, by the way, is that the cell is irreducibly complex, which we know isn't true.
the problem with irreducible complexity is, if you think about it, machines are made of different parts. Say a lawnmower, it's got a blade, it's got a motor, wheels, stuff like that. But Darwin always insisted that his theory had to work by numerous successive slight modifications. It had to be very, very gradual. But if you try to build a machine like a lawnmower or a mousetrap,
I like the mousetrap because that's so simple, even I can get it in my head.
Yeah, right. Just think of a mechanical mousetrap. It's got a number of different pieces. Now, if you wanted to build something like that slowly and have each part or each intermediate work, you've got a big problem, because it needs all of the parts to work. It needs a spring, a wooden base, a couple other metal parts. And just to capture that concept, I invented the phrase irreducible complexity, because it's complex.
All right. So irreducible complexity has been debunked a lot. They started out, the first time I heard of this was talking about the eye, and then they tried to tie it to the different systems of the human body. And then somewhere along the way, I heard Michael Behe's mousetrap analogy. And we had a guest over here, Answer Man. I don't have his link up, but we had Answer Man on, and he does an excellent video where he goes over exactly how you could build a mousetrap with those one pieces at a time, and how, if you wanted to do it that way, it would evolve. But also, we're not talking about machines. The mousetrap analogy and the machine analogy here doesn't really work, because those pieces of that machine, you've already got a finished product in mind you're heading for. So those pieces are designed to fit that finished product. This doesn't account for that. Small changes over time that aren't necessarily morphological are what evolution's all about. So let's see. Thanks, Justin. Yahooligan gifted 5 Kentucky Atheist memberships. Looks like we got Al Trucker, Justin, Randy, Kelly, and Anarchic Fox all got memberships. Well, thanks Justin for the memberships, and I will probably do a member stream tomorrow, and then the video with GE will be Saturday. Tomorrow or the next day, I'll do the member stream, but there will be one this week. So yeah, I appreciate that, and welcome everybody. Hope to see you there. Thanks. So let's let him continue on with this nonsense, though.
Can't reduce it, or
Take
else
away one piece and it just doesn't work.
and the mousetrap doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Therefore, it could not, the mousetrap.
Yeah, I always thought that was funny too, Amber, because I think where it comes from is where they got that is they actually quote. I mean, we know that they quote mine Darwin about the eyeball, like a lot of creationists do that. They'll say that even Darwin said this about the eye and all that, you know. But I'm not sure if that's where that argument originated from a quote mine. I mean, it's probably a good shot it did. But yeah. Oh, I didn't see you.
I thought so.
What's up, Peter?
I just joined, and the first thing I thought, Joe hasn't started the video yet, and he's already losing his head. But then I thought, that's green
I didn't want to put up my green screen, so I just did the virtual background, and it looks like crap.
Yeah, it does.
But
yeah, so he just mentioned two different things to point out irreducible complexity. A lawnmower started out as people just using a knife, and then it became a curved knife, which we call a scythe, and then someone invented a thing where you could actually propel the knives with the power of the wheels while rolling it along the grass. And then someone came up and said, hey, we can put a motor on this. So kind of evolved, didn't it?
Yeah, kind of sounds like it.
Yeah. So I thought that was a great example to show that it's not irreducibly complex. You can just take out the knife and it will still work.
Yeah, you actually,
as long as
instead of having a person swinging a knife around, eventually, and then we had rotary motors and all that stuff. But then you get to they're like, well, hey, with the invention of the combustion engine, there's an easier way to spin this, because
yes,
that's what motors do. They spin.
Yes. And people are lazy. So if you can have some kind of motor do the work for you, why not? Yeah. And then obviously you think, hey, I can drive a car. Why couldn't I drive a lawnmower? So
yeah,
it evolved even further.
I used to when I worked doing landscaping and lawns. I rode a zero turn mower, which is another evolution of the lawnmower.
See,
yeah. So no, you're completely right. I agree completely. And I did put a chatbot command in for you. So anytime you just put !Peter in the chat, or anybody does, it'll give your information. I put that in right before the show started because I thought you may stop.
I saw that. I'm a bot now. A lot of people won't like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, my bot. Most of the commands to my bot, anyone can do. It's even got we got that magic 8-ball thing set up, which is completely stupid. But there's a lot of fun things in there, and there's actually a way to list out all the commands and stuff. But we're not going to do that because people will burn up chat with it. But
Speaking about commands, do you have the new command on YouTube yet? Because I'm still waiting to see it anywhere. I know that they've got it in Germany. So YouTube came up with a new thing to support smaller channels, where you get not just a like button, but you also get a hype button. So people can hype your videos, and that will just rank them higher in the algorithm, so more people will be shown your video if people hype your videos. So,
I got an email about that. Is that only for vertical live streams, or is that all live streams?
It should be for all live streams, for all content even. I think it should also be available on just uploaded videos.
Oh. I didn't get that feature yet that I know of. It may be there. Somebody tell us.
I don't have it either. It should be rolled out in 39 countries by now. I have no clue which. Shut up, bird. I don't know. My bird's getting here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have it. I do know that in Germany they all have it. So if you have the hype button, hit it. And get the Kentucky Atheist a little bit higher up in the algorithm.
Ember says it's available on pre-recorded videos in the U.S. No lives at all, and the button appears only on mobile. Huh.
It's possible.
I did notice when I uploaded my last video, they had added the new feature where it lets me give it multiple titles and thumbnails and stuff. And I actually did put multiple titles on that video, so it should change and try out all of those titles and then stick with whichever one does best, which it may not even get around to it. That video got like 45 views, I think.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't care.
You never know. And, also, YouTube is going to roll out vertical video and horizontal as one video.
Oh, cool.
So they will automatically switch between vertical and horizontal depending on the device you're watching at. So that's going to make my life a little easier.
Yeah, sure.
Instead of using 2 stream keys, I only need one. But you have to have a setup for vertical in order to do that.
EVMux lets me switch between the two. Like, I think I can... I can't do it during live, though. I have to do it before I start. I can just click a button and switch this to a vertical live stream, but I never use that. So I just
what you need is have both at the same time.
So
both going out to YouTube.
Yeah, like most video, like most video players do, right? The support if you turn the screen. But yeah. They're supposed to, they're trying to roll out a lot of things to help benefit live streams and stuff, especially on mobile.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully it does good. My live streams do significantly better than my recorded videos now, but I pretty much only live stream now. I very rarely make recorded videos anymore. And the recorded one I made was pulled from a live stream and just a couple things added from it. So
the only recorded videos that I have is the artwork that I make for other people, and that put on a playlist on my channel.
Yeah. I'll be doing more recorded stuff and probably less live streaming stuff going forward. Probably live streaming a couple times a week, and then a recorded video once a month or so, or something like that. But starting out anyway, and then we'll see where it goes, see what I can pull off. But yeah, I like that they're doing things for that. You want to go on and see what other stupid things Michael Behe has to say?
Yeah, let's do that. And let's watch the interviewer, because he's... I don't know where they found this guy, but if you watch him during the entire show, it seems he's surprised to hear each of those arguments as if he's never heard them before.
Well, it says Hoover Institution, and I wonder... See, the Discovery Institute's good for this. They bring up these other places that are actually just arms of the Discovery Institute. Let me look up the Hoover Institution.
Yeah, it was just one thing that I noticed when we watched the whole thing. Whenever they bring something up, he looks in the camera like he can't even believe what they're saying. If you start watching for that, it's pretty funny.
I don't know why they would even... According to what I found, I don't know why they would even show this, but I suspected that this guy was just a Discovery Institute guy that they had interviewing him because they were all there, They had all three of them together at the same time and was like, oh, let's sit down and do a thing with it,
It's possible. I have no clue who this guy is.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, he seems to be like good at doing interviews, but I imagine that the Discovery Institute wrote the questions, so.
Yeah, he's got the questions in front of me, or in front of him. He's got as you can see on the bottom of the screen, the big piece of paper that he's reading the questions off of. So
yeah, this wouldn't be so widely available if he was critical of them, rather than just throwing them softballs to shoot out creationist drivel.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Take away one piece from one of these fantastically complicated machines in a cell,
right.
It doesn't function and therefore could not have conferred an adaptive advantage.
Right.
That is false. That's well, it's not. It's not that it's false. It's that it's fallacious because the cells didn't. You say you want to take out one part from an already evolved cell. Evolved isn't the right word. From a cell in its current form, you want to take out one part and it's not going to work. Of course, because those things had to evolve together.
And it could not be built gradually and improving each step of the way.
Intermediate stages confer no functional advantage, therefore there's nothing for natural selection to select on the way from the simple to the complex.
Okay. Michael, does that, what interests me greatly about that is the gradual building up is a stepwise ascent. Whereas, am I right in saying that contemporary biologists like Dennis Noble, whom I mentioned, are saying, but look, you have to take the whole cell into consideration, that this is top-down causation, and that would frustrate any concept of building things up anyway.
Did John Lennox just debunk Michael Behe live? Is that what just happened?
I would say so, because he thinks it's top-down when we know that it's bottom-up.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah, I think John Lennox just let's see the look on Behe's face when we see him next.
By numerous slight accretion. Is that fair to say that?
If you go that way, then you have left Darwin far behind.
Yes.
And you've left randomness far behind.
But they are doing that. They're leaving it far behind.
But top-down is actually a metaphor for the action of an agent in arranging things with a plan in mind.
Dangerous
yes,
stuff.
right.
Yeah. You see,
John Lennox. Let's correct the dummies here. Because you're both rambling on and making no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean,
so they weren't talking about top down, the cell doing anything top down. They were talking about the rationale looking at it that way as top down is what Lennox was asking him. He completely dodged the question. And then Myers tried to save him and said something stupid.
Well, Myers actually said what their position is while they were both propagating I don't know actually what they were doing.
So Michael Behe was saying that you couldn't take one piece out of a current cell and it still function correctly, which yes, nobody says that you could. Nobody's saying that everything else in the cell evolved to the point that it is now, and then this other thing evolved too. That's not the claim anywhere, but that's how he tries to represent it. John Lennox then says, well, you know, what do you say to people who say that this is post hoc rationalization and that these cells actually start and all evolve together, which is what they do. And Stephen Myer then threw out the creationist answer to that because Behe was floundering on it. I knew that having these three together would be hilarious.
They're not all as smart as they want to be.
No. Hey, I don't have a degree in any of these fields or the fields that they have degrees in that they're not talking about. But this is it's been the same arguments from creationists forever. We talked about that a bit yesterday, going back to the 60s and 70s. They started. That's where creation apologetics really started getting its footing and stuff. And in 1972, the ICR was founded, and they wanted to use these arguments to do debates with evolutionists, as they say, and non-believers, not because they had the answer, but to give publicity to ICR.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of adding PhD to my name because
Sure.
Because I have been called Peter the Horrible Demon by Christians. So That's PhD, isn't it? So I'm officially a PhD now.
Anybody who
Right
wants
there,
to get a
sir.
PhD, if you click that tip button down there in the next 10 minutes and donate 666, I will make you a degree that from the Kentucky Atheist University that says you have a PhD.
That's a good one too.
That. Now I will be fair about this. These three people, John Lennox, excellent in mathematics. He is a professor of mathematics at Oxford University, or was. I don't know if he's retired now, but um,
I think
uh,
he's retired. Yeah.
Stephen Myer, we talked about yesterday, has a degree in science philosophy, which great, and he actually went to, that's a legit degree he has. Michael Behe teaches at a university and has credentials. Amber pointed out that Behe has a master's and not a doctorate.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, these guys, at least it's not like the Kent Hovind thing where they just like wrote a letter to a trailer and got one, right? They actually went to school and have degrees. They're just talking outside of their field and out their asses completely.
Yeah, none of them have any education in biology. So.
Right, yeah. I have to say, Jay Bundy's interaction with Michael Behe over on Michael Beverly's channel, the debate they did over there, oh, it was so wonderful to watch. Jay Bundy stomped the shit out of Michael Behe and made him want to rage quit. It was good stuff.
Okay, let's see what else they got.
Alrighty.
Just swats Darwin aside. For the two of you, it's a much more agonizing process. You try very hard to be fair to the man. Two quotations, Michael, two quotations. Charles Darwin in The Origin. If Darwin himself writes this, if it could be demonstrated that any complex organ existed, which could not possibly have been formed by numerous, successive, slight modifications, my theory would absolutely break down. Close.
Before he answers, this is an actual quote.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a quote mine. This is actually something that Darwin said, and this is true, and this still holds.
Yes.
I imagine they're going to try and say that it doesn't, but yeah, this just to let you know, this is an actual quote from The Origin of Species.
Yes, and it's something that has never happened.
Right, exactly.
So we have not found an organ that couldn't have been formed in that way.
Well,
so
what I find funny whenever they start making this argument, because I know where this is going, what I find funny about this is they tend to gloss over genetics. Like, because when Darwin wrote this, genetics, of course, wasn't a thing.
Nope.
And later on, genetics confirmed many of the predictions and things that we had about natural selection and the theory of evolution. And this is actually one of those things where you the genetics tells you the story, right? The genome, and we've broke down the genomes of a couple species now. It takes a long time to do that, by the way, but the Human Genome Project was first, and then they've I think they've done dogs, and they've done a few now, and it's getting easier and faster to do. But they don't like to talk about genetics, so let's see if he. I know he's not going to, but we'll see.
Quote. That's Darwin. He puts the test right there in 1859. Here's Michael Behe. The question then becomes, are there irreducibly complex systems in the cell? Yes, there are many.
False.
Yes. That and the difference between that and the quote that Darwin that they read from Darwin was making a prediction. This is a quote that has never been backed up with evidence.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas Darwin's has. It's the exact opposite.
every time that creationists have tried to argue for irreducible complexity in some system, we have shown or found later that no, actually, we can see that those systems do fit within evolution, and may have, in the case of like the eye and some of the automatic systems of the body, have evolved multiple times in multiple different lineages. So yeah, he's just wrong.
Yeah, and in the case of the eye, we do still have organisms that have the different steps of how an eye evolved. They are still we can still see those.
Yeah,
There are still
there's still animals in the ocean that just have sensory spots as eyes, that just detect light.
yes.
Which is kind of where that starts, right?
Yeah, and the funniest thing is we don't even have the most advanced eyes.
No, nowhere near.
No.
There's many species that have eyesight that's able to see way wider spectrums than we are. So
Yep.
birds.
Well,
As you
the best eye is a what's it called, crustacean in
oh, it is.
found somewhere.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, I forgot the name.
yeah.
Blanking on the name.
I
But
remember now. Yeah.
yeah, makes you think what God was thinking, right? That He gave us one of the lesser eyes
Yeah.
and gave the better ones to animals.
Yeah. 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 You have to and I know it requires that you kind of get into that thinking about the mind of God for a minute and stuff, but you can still try to apply rationality to that, and so you would have to say that God made these other creatures because He made all the other animals first in the creation story.
Mm-hmm. He
So
ran out of the good eyes
yeah,
when
he either ran out of good
by
eyes
the, by
or
the
he
time he made
decided
Adam.
humans didn't need to see all that.
Yeah.
I don't. When I mean, there's benefit to that, but we didn't have the pressures in our environment to need such a thing. We survive and propagate without it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. As I said, the cell is chock full of machines. Machines need many parts. They can't be built by numerous successive slight modifications. But let me draw attention to one little.
People build machines, and they can't build cells, and cells don't build
Yeah.
machines, and the body doesn't build machines. So
Also, the word machine means something. There's a definition for the word machine. It's a man-made thing. It's not organic. It's not even made out of organic materials. So, no, there are no machines in cells.
no.
We don't have oil refineries in our body to get the fuel to the machines, or
Well,
uh,
the machine analogy with the parts of the cells is something that elementary and middle school teachers use as an analogy to explain to children how it works. They're not claiming that the cell is an actual machine. Of course,
it's
I guess
it's a tool to visualize. It's a
Right,
tool to
right.
visualize, to better understand what is happening.
Yeah.
It's not an actual thing. So I don't know if
artistic
any of
expression.
you recall the creationist with the biggest headphones on the planet, Nephilim Free. I once was in a live stream with him where he showed an animated video where it was made to look like machines, and he actually thought that that was video from inside a cell, and that how it works. He told me. He told me so.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
So yeah.
It's like Kent Hovind with the tree of life things that he shows. Oh, I see him back there. Yeah, what's up, kid? Oh, okay, yeah, it's that video. The
Yeah.
So
He's whacking an atheist back there. We don't know who it is, but he there. See?
uh, with the tree of life thing that Kent Hovind shows, that shows how we're related to other species and things. He always wants to pull that up, and the thing that I responded to him with, and that many people have, is like, Kent, that's an artistic rendering of it to give you an idea of how it spreads out and works. That's not like a literal thing. We got an Al Trucker in here. What's up, Al? I'm not hearing you if you're speaking, Al.
Am I working now?
Yes, sir.
All right. This was a hell of a hard thing to get onto for some reason. Yeah, last time I joined your show and it was like not hard at all, but this time my audio device didn't like it. Anyway, I don't want to interrupt the flow of the stream to talk about technical difficulties, which none of us would ever have.
Al, it's just you haven't joined enough live streams lately. You're just out of practice. That's it.
I sure have. Have. Do I see Bert smacking his forehead? Or is he just building up static electricity on his eyebrows?
Who do you mean?
Kent?
Him right there? That's Kent Hovind.
That's like a super chat. That confused me last time. How are you doing, Peter?
I'm doing fine. Long time no see. How are you doing?
It's been a long time. I've talked to you in chat recently. I'm doing all right. I'm a year ago I was recovering from a major catastrophe to my lungs. So yeah, no, everything's all different now, and I'm doing well. And I mostly joined to say that if we added up all this stuff these yahoos know about evolution, we would have created a perfect vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Don't just tip your waitresses.
All right. We'll let him go some more and we'll talk about it.
Sneaky trick that Darwin put into that quotation. He says if it could be demonstrated that something couldn't possibly happen. Right. So he's putting a burden on his opponents to prove a negative, which science cannot do and never has. No theory has ruled out all rival theories.
That's okay. So
that's
not true about science, but it's not about what Darwin is saying.
No, it's literally what Behe is saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Behe wants us to prove a negative. Darwin wants us to disprove a positive, which is different.
Yeah, and yeah, he's saying this would destroy it to show that positively that the cell didn't come from these simpler parts or something that is irreducibly complex. He's not asking you to prove a negative. He's asking you to show evidence of your very position, Michael Behe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Behe is asking you to prove a negative. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah. Yes.
To be accepted. But we have great evidence and that it can't, and we have absolutely no evidence that natural selection acting on random mutation could build much of anything.
So
really?
Wrong.
Really?
Wrong.
I can think of several hundred peer-reviewed articles that provide evidence of said thing, and this is the glossing over genetics I said he was going to do. This is where genetics actually shows those things in simple. I'll use the word simpler forms in previous species, and so he's completely wrong. This is a lie. He knows it's a lie.
And we have seen this happen in real time within the human lifespan with the Italian wall lizard that they put on an island where it didn't have the food supply that it needed, and it grew a completely different digestive system within a few generations.
Yeah.
So we know that there are new organs being formed from previous organs in order to function and in order to keep the species alive. So we have seen this happen, literally.
And we've also seen how the cells from like we've seen even on a smaller scale in real time of how the cells come together from single cellular cell life forms into multicellular life, and
Yep.
and then start building those things that you're talking about. So we actually see every step of that in real time, and it's been observed in the lab and in the field. So this is just a straight lie.
Yes.
Anybody who thinks that this is true and not a lie, leave me a comment down below, and I will provide you the evidence and the peer-reviewed research that shows that this is a lie.
So here's the objection. The objection. I say this as if I know enough to be authoritative. Here's an objection. And the objection runs, all right, it's very hard to see how you evolve a mousetrap beginning with a little wooden platform. And true,
That's called incredulity.
it can't work until all the
Yeah,
pieces
it's
are in place.
it's
On
not
the
a
other
mousetrap if you just put out a piece of wood, because it's not going to trap anything. It's also not how you evolve a mousetrap.
Again, Answer Man, who's been on here, has an excellent animated video where he shows the evolution of the mousetrap and how those individual parts came to be. This is thoroughly debunked, and it's with a little bit of just a simple research, you can debunk this about the mousetrap.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys already mention the guy that like takes the cheese bait and the little clip out of it and just uses it as a tie clip?
Ken Miller.
Ken Miller
used it.
And then,
He used it as a tie clip during Kitzmiller versus Dover in order to show him that even if you take parts away, it still works.
Use it. Well, and why not have a block of wood like heavy enough to kill the mouse by having it fall on it when it goes underneath it? Like, I mean, like right now we have there's a couple of different types of mousetrap, but the one they're talking about is the sort of one with like a wire, a spring, a clip, and a bait, and it's all on a piece of balsa wood. Well, balsa wood isn't very heavy, but if you had like a nice piece of hemlock and it smushed the mouse when it grabbed the bait, that would work. And now all we're doing is we're using a spring to pull a wire down to the wood and making a light piece of wood more efficacious.
So one of the earliest ways of trapping animals was to prop up a rock and drop it on its head, right? You put a little bit of bait under the rock. You use a little piece of twine, string, whatever you want to call it. Prop it up with a stick, and it triggers and the rock falls on its head, right? So if you start there at the simplest, I think that's probably the simplest trap you can make. I mean that will kill anyway. If you start there, then you can see how those things transform. And as for like the spring and stuff, I don't remember exactly the steps in the video, but he goes through each piece and shows where it was added in along the way and what benefit and how it transformed the mousetrap into what it is now. That this is, and I will add a link. Since I've mentioned it like 4 times, I will add a link to that video down in the description after we're done here today, so that anybody that wants to go watch that, it's on The Answer Man, a great channel, a great guest, easily debunkable.
This stuff is like, it's child's play.
Yes, well that's why I chose this video, because it's easy for me.
Too bad it's not easier for these guys. Like I've seen this Behe guy flounder, and I know you mentioned when he was up against Jay Bundy, who's a real doctor. like a real PhD doctor.
Yeah.
And I realize these people have real education of sorts, like way more than some other yahoos we could mention, but they're really like they're out of their depth and field, like, but they're even out of just rational thought. I'm a truck driver. I don't need a PhD to debunk these folks, and they
Yeah.
are apparently quite erudite in some subject, like
Well,
enough to be granted letters.
yeah,
Like,
keep in mind, Al, these guys might as well be truck drivers too. They are all speaking outside of their field of expertise.
well, yeah, no, I realize
Yes.
they're not more, but like you'd think that the amount of rational thought and critical thinking skills that have been like
Sure.
invested into someone who has that much education, because at the PhD level, you're not supposed to be just reciting, you know, your multiplication tables to get like a math PhD. I'm not saying these guys have one. I can't remember what they have. I know you even said it, and I've already forgotten it. What they actually have an education in. But my point being simply that you have to be able to think so well that you can cut new knowledge out of whole cloth and make something that is of some worth academically. It's
Well,
not just reciting facts, you know, at
that
all.
that's where you get on the, and I'm going to say slippery slope, but I'm not. That's where you get on the way to where this becomes fallacious, is by saying, "Oh, you have a PhD in mathematics. You must be a really smart guy, so I should trust the things that you're saying about biology because you're not a stupid man." That's
Yeah.
exactly where this becomes fallacy.
It
Because then
is
becomes
absolutely
authority.
fallacious
Yeah.
in that regard. I get that.
Yeah.
But you'd think these folks could at least read and understand the basics of what even Darwin was saying, because at this point we've moved far beyond
they-
Darwin.
Al,
But
the thing is
they're
they
not
can.
getting it.
Yeah.
The thing is they can. And they're absolutely capable of educating themselves on the topic. But
They're
here's
correct.
the thing. They found out a way. No, they found out a way how they can make more money with the PhD or the master's degree they have than in the field they have a PhD or a master's degree.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more money to be made in creationism than there is in the
telling-
fields of science that they're
Telling
in.
lies, basically. I mean, because that's
Yes.
you'd have to be telling malicious lies.
Yeah.
I would think, right? At some point in all of this.
Oh, sure. Stephen Myer, who is, I believe, the head of the Discovery Institute or founder or whatever, he has historically made a lot of bad arguments in interview style things like this, and has been heavily debunked on the papers that the Discovery Institute has put out and everything. Behe, the same thing. Yet they continue to say this same stuff. The whole idea of this interview is that you have three people that aren't going to push back against each other. They're going to let them say the stupidest shit they want to say. But they know that these things have been shown to be wrong. Michael Behe might as well, I would call Michael Behe a washed up creationist at this point, because it's been so thoroughly debunked that he doesn't even have a body of work that is even close to reasonable anymore. It's just hoping that other people will believe it. They have an agenda here.
He's lumped in there with Tompkins now, I guess.
Yeah, Tompkins. Yeah. Too bad this wasn't a four-person panel.
Speaking of a mathematician extraordinaire.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see him and John Lennox have a conversation. And honestly, like you said, though, you would expect that these people are capable of understanding these things. And also, you have three people who are intelligent people that are not saying anything when the other guys are putting out this fake stuff either. They're just letting this stuff go when
they're not saying the things we're saying, which
Right.
not to take away anything from the two of you. You're both very intelligent, and I'm able to breathe and chew gum at the same time, so I must have a brain cell or two in there. But they're not saying the things that a normal critical thinking person would say, which is like, well, that's not engaging with the actual argument being made, or that's not at all what's being suggested by Darwinian evolution or any of like the modified science that is evolutionary biology today. None of what they're suggesting holds any water, and no one says, hey, you're not reading this correctly. You're not understanding the arguments being made. Why are you having trouble with this kind of thing?
Yeah. There's you can show that there, and this is indoctrination at work, right? This is absolutely creationist propaganda. This whole video, the whole purpose of this is to make it seem like this is a professional setting. These are professional people. They're telling you these things that you should take to heart, right? That's the whole point of the video. They don't want critical thinking applied to anything that they're saying here. They're not using it. They don't want you to use it. They want you to take this and apply it to your theological position and become more of a fundamentalist, fanatical Christian.
And send them money.
Oh, yeah.
The money, yeah.
Yeah, there's a grift here, definitely.
I mean,
the Discovery Institute, that's really their whole thing.
Yeah. I gotta figure it. Somebody's alarm's going off. Is it mine?
Yeah, no, that was mine.
Okay.
I still have to do some work.
All right.
So I put up a reminder, but I can hang
to get
around
back
for
to
a
work?
couple more.
Well,
yeah.
I'm sorry
just
I
life.
interrupted this good conversation and dragged it out.
No.
You guys would be done the video by now if I hadn't jumped in here.
No. You're very welcome, and so you've made a few good points, which, and this is one of the things that I've always said, and this is why I'm such a big proponent of having lots of atheist channels, because everyone can have a say in all of this. This is not hard to debunk.
Right.
You don't need a PhD to debunk guys like this. The thing is, everyone can come up with something new. I'm pretty proud of being mentioned in one of the best books debunking creationism, which was written by Jackson Wheat and R.J. Downard, because I don't even know anymore what it was, but I came up with something that they hadn't heard before, so I got to mention in the book. And so everyone can do this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's always been what I try to demonstrate with this channel. I'm just a dude from Eastern Kentucky. There's no expert here. There's nothing. I'm not smarter than any average person. I'm just a guy here who wanted to talk about these things because I felt passionate about it. And I know that other people do too. And if you feel like that you have the urge to speak out about these things, this is me demonstrating that you can absolutely do that and be at least somewhat successful at it. My channel's not huge, but it's growing. It's monetized. I'm getting ready to hit 1,500 subs. I mean,
that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
All you need is to be honest and to be willing to invest a little bit of time to see whether or not the claims that these people are making are actually true.
Yes.
And that's not hard to do, and you will educate yourself along the way. So,
and that's actually one of the best things about investigating any of these topics is the fact that it will encourage you to learn, relearn, and open up your curiosity to the point that I've been relearning, and then I relearned maybe 15% of stuff I used to know, that just to remind myself in investigating things, and then I'm curious again to what did I not learn back when I made a right-hand turn into whatever career path I've taken and all that, right? Like, what did I miss out on if I'd gone a different way?
I learned a lot of stuff in school about this, but I didn't learn the things that we've discovered since. And I'm old enough that in school was a very, very, very long time ago for me.
Well, you and me both.
There's a
I think
whole lot that we've discovered, a whole lot that science progresses all the time. So you never stop learning.
Does.
Jefferson Spatchcock coming by to say hi. What's up, Jefferson?
Yeah. Hey, Jeff.
You're welcome to join if you want. There's a link pinned in the chat there. So I'm going to kind of paraphrase something that I said in a Facebook post yesterday. Is one of the great things about all the different perspectives, different cultures, all the diversity that we have within the atheist community on YouTube or however you want to put that. The diversity that we have here, though, allows us to not always know the answer, but know where to find it. That's what's important. Is not that you already know everything, but you know how to find answers. You know how to learn. You know how to research, and you know how to do a proper Google search. Like those things, those skills are all you need to be able to think critically about the claims of Christianity, creationism, or any other religion, or any other claims about the natural world, I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like that unlocks a lot of things for people, for sure.
If I have something I want to say about Egypt, I want to make a claim about Egypt, I'm going to contact Deviant Outcast and say, hey, is this correct? If I have something I want to say about biology or physics or any scientific subject covering these things, I have a community of people that I can contact and say, hey, is this correct? I want to go to somebody who is an expert in this, and then I can also combine that with a little bit of research and find the answers to these things. It just requires that you be just skeptical a little bit.
And willing to learn.
Yes.
Willing to learn is another thing.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I don't get, that a whole lot of people that I've come across are not willing to learn.
No.
I am not kidding. I'm not kidding. I've had a guy on my channel, I think 6 times now. I just learned from him, I'm not kidding, that Apollo 11 apparently discovered a human skeleton on the moon.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Wow.
So now I'm being spammed by Cypher, who's been on with me and him on our channel with all kinds of weird shit that he can find in some kind of rag that has been circulating in America. They found a bad boy, and I don't know. He's asking him now, is this real? Is this the most insane stuff? Is flooding my DMs now. But this guy actually thinks... Yeah, he actually he thinks that the moon landing never happened, while he's old enough to have watched it live on TV as I did.
Right. Conspiracy.
I mean...
Yeah.
No, but he also is aware of this great anthropological find on the moon's surface that we never went to.
Well, he's using that. He's using that as that probably had to have been fake news, because they could never have found a skeleton.
That was vetted, but not the rest of it.
And that was legitimately in the news back in the 70s. Yeah, sure it was.
So let me just apply the least bit of critical thinking to this claim, right?
Yeah. Well, I would be quite shocked to find one there. That's not the most impossible thing I've ever heard.
No, it's impossible. It is. Unless you took a skeleton from Earth and launched it to the moon, it is impossible. Bodies will not decay on the surface
super unlikely.
Hold on. The guy back there, he said that when the fountains of the deep broke open, parts of Earth shot up to the moon and made the craters in the moon.
Oh yeah.
Some of the rocks shot past the moon and then fell back to Earth and caused the craters on the backside of the moon.
Oh.
So Yeah.
Wild.
If you are a creationist, finding a skeleton on the moon is entirely possible because when the fountains of the deep broke open, some stupid
It still is.
guy could have stood just
have been standing in the
above
wrong
the
spot
fountain
there.
and got shot to the moon.
No,
So it's
no,
entirely
it-
possible.
It still is not impossible to find an intact skeleton on the moon, even with that, because you're talking about. Let's say there was a body that had been buried and already decayed, because it's not going to decay in space or on the moon. There's a body that's already decayed in Earth, a chunk of Earth that hits the moon. What happens to that when it hits the moon?
I mean, you'd think there'd be like a bit of force there, you know. Just a
And
bit.
we can do the math to show that, right? Like, this is an impossible claim. Yes.
Well, you say that, Joe, but nothing is impossible with God.
No, I mean it's possible given we launched the skeleton to the moon. That would be the way that it got there. Is somebody placed it there?
Yeah.
How do you know that skeleton isn't Jesus' reincarnated body?
Oh, he did ascend.
No. Jefferson Spatchcock got it. He said the Russians left the plastic one up there just
Oh,
to
the
mess with younger
Russians
creationists.
did that to.
But-
They
but
did that to troll the Americans. Yeah,
The
that
claim
makes sense.
was it was found by Apollo 11, though. The Russians hadn't been there.
The Russians hadn't been there. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't
So-
even know they'd been there yet.
Oh yeah. Well, they haven't been on the moon.
No,
They've orbited the moon.
like they've been up there. Yeah, but I didn't. I was unaware of the Russians having like a manned mission to the moon surface.
No, they haven't done that.
Okay. They have not done. Okay,
The USA is the only one that's put feet on the moon.
that's put feet on the moon. Okay,
Yeah.
it's because of a foot fetish, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
That's why they always show the footprints.
that's why they throw them footprints.
Yeah.
This is like, oh, YouTube's gonna demonetize you now, Joe.
I don't give
We
a
talked
shit.
about feet.
YouTube can kiss my ass.
I'm sorry I made it sexual.
Yeah. It's okay. Foot fetishes on the moon. Didn't imagine that was coming up today.
Why didn't Mohammed write about this when he went and split the moon in two?
Well,
He was looking for more skeletons.
Yeah.
Now
He was-
you don't get it. He was digging and accidentally split the moon in two.
He split the moon in two on his Pegasus. Is he on a Pegasus or is he on an alicorn? I never did quite understand whether he had an alicorn or
No,
a
he
Pegasus.
was on a normal horse.
Just a normal.
far as
Oh, I thought
that-
it had wings. I
Yeah.
thought he was a Pegasus with wings.
No.
Oh man, he just
No. He
So-
just rode a horse there, as
maybe
you
he
do,
maybe
right?
he jumped on the fountains of the deep at that point there. That would have been quite a trip.
yeah, maybe like, you know how in video games they'll have like these, the water sprays up and you can jump on it. Like Mario 2, you can jump on the water.
Yeah.
shooting
Oh
up
yeah,
on
I've
the
seen
rails.
that.
Maybe he did it like that. He rode it up to the moon and put a skeleton
Like the
there.
Silver Surfer on.
Yeah.
How does this? I mean, the Silver Surfer's got to be one of the most like physics-defying superheroes, right?
Yeah.
Because they're making their own runway everywhere they go.
It's
That's super weird, right?
And
Okay.
see, that's the thing. They don't want you to critically think about these things because you're gonna see how silly they are once you start digging into the claims of creationists. Every creationist claim that I know of falls apart immediately whenever you start to use critical thinking. It's if you just question any part of it, and I would say that really this applies to all of Christianity, not just creationism, but we won't go there today.
Mhm.
Creationist claims certainly, though. I think Aaron Ross says, I forget how he words it, but all creationist claims are fallacious and I forget how he says it. Also, you were speaking about great books.
All creationist claims are fallacious, and
how's the rest of that
all
go?
arguments all arguments for a god are fallacies.
Yeah.
Or
The
something like that.
yeah. Whenever you start, just question things a little bit. You don't have to look. Asking questions about things doesn't immediately say I don't believe in God and I'm an atheist because I'm questioning something a creationist said. It's okay to question things. Even if you believe in God, you would have to believe that God created us with brains capable of doing that, and that we should use those tools that God gave us, right? So thinking critically about these things would be an absolutely normal, natural thing to do.
Yeah.
Indoctrination doesn't want you to do that, though. Well, you can't in indoctrination, actually, but
It gets in the way. It get like critical thinking about some of the crazy shit they tell you.
yeah,
And I think a lot of it has to do with like conditioning you to just believe whatever's told to you, and a lot of it happens from a very young age. I realize some people come to these decisions or beliefs later in life, but many people, I would say the majority of the ones I've talked to, and typically they're deconverted people, but they typically grew up in it and had to. The deconversion part really stems from having had to have unlearned what they've been told.
yeah. No, and one of the things about deconstruction, whenever people are deconstructing, is they hold on to a lot of those beliefs, even though they don't necessarily believe in a God anymore, or they don't believe that the Bible is true. They still have a fear of hell, because of the indoctrination that they went through previously, right? So they
Well, it's
still hold
woven
on
into
to
the
some of
whole
those
thing,
things.
right? It's not just
Yeah,
one aspect of life they had it
yeah,
as a part
yeah.
of, right? Even though they might be able to separate out certain things to maybe do like a job function, they may be like, well, science works for this one very small thing, but the rest of it's all very suspect.
Yeah.
And that type of thinking is, I guess it becomes like a natural part of what they do. I can't quite fathom it, but that doesn't matter. What I can and can't fathom from not having experienced myself doesn't make it untrue, and that's the other
Yeah,
thing that
that's incredulity.
seems, yeah, like I'm not going to have incredulity about it because I've been told a very similar story by so many people. Why would I not believe that this is true and exactly the way these folks have experienced it?
Yeah.
That's like,
Dave over at Captive Desk gave us a $2 super chat. Says, "Rock on, Joe. You rock on too, Dave. Thank you so
all
much."
right, way to go, Dave.
Thanks, Dave, and glad you're still here with us, buddy.
Damn straight.
All right, so let's watch a little bit more of this,
All
and we'll
right.
talk some more, and then we'll start heading home.
Suppose you do evolve it in 2 or 3 pieces, and they sit around for centuries. They don't confer any advantage on the organism, but they don't harm it either. So they're these strange accretions on which natural selection is neutral. It doesn't select for them, but it doesn't select against them. And then after eons and eons, we worry about the maths later, after eons and eons, the final piece drops into place, and suddenly it functions. Plausible?
No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so my argument for that would be vestigial organs. You know, that have been later used for other things. So vestigial,
Yeah.
and if you listen to creationists, they'll tell you that vestigial means that it's not used anymore and that it's just a useless.
Or that's useless,
part.
or getting in their way, even like it's an anchor dragging you down.
Yeah, vestigial just means that it's no longer functioning in its original way, right? Its original purpose has been repurposed, or in some cases, like it may not have a function. But what he just described is Kent Hovind even points this out. He talks about well, how did we get to well dicks again? How did this happen? But he talks about how these aren't the whale's hips and things. These muscles are anchored to those bones for mating and stuff. But
Sure.
But we actually know that it's vestigial, right? But he's right that there are muscles anchored to those bones used for mating now, but it's not its original purpose. So it is vestigial. Like that fixes exactly what he just put forward, and not the way evolution works either. By the way, that you have these things that have already evolved and they set for thousands of years, and
you can have a
evolves
dormant
together.
vestigial thing that comes back to help again later, right? Like that's happened where you know, it was there and then got put to use. And they also, I like to point this out just in case like an actual creationist is watching this and doesn't understand why we don't get this. Like, nobody is saying that these evolutionary processes happen in one extant organism from birth to death. It's in a population over multiple generations.
Yes.
Not in,
and also,
it's not a thing turning into something else.
no, and also, if those muscles hadn't been attached to the hip bone, we probably wouldn't see hip bones in whales these days.
Exactly.
They would have gone away just like the legs, because
Yeah.
they wouldn't have had any purpose. So
with, you can have stasis within forms, but then also within smaller parts of those forms, right? So if let's say what he's describing though would require that you have mutation after mutation that is neutral, never a beneficial or negative mutation, right? They're all just neutral, and thousands of mutations that result in this structure that is never used for anything. What would be the environmental pressure to cause evolution to do such a thing? That's why this is kind of silly to even suggest, because evolution doesn't work that way to begin with.
Yeah, it's not a tiller on the organisms developing. It's the current that they're developing in that changes which ones keep going. It's not like evolution's not a directed process, and I always find it weird when people try to anthropomorphize like an actual, like just an observed phenomenon in living beings. Is that we see through the record of living beings, and we can see in short-lived generations, we can see evolution in process, and we see that certain things have happened, and we know that biologists have been recording creatures long enough that we can see actual things that have changed, and Darwin did a lot of amazing work in this, even if he wasn't right about everything. Like there's so much great evidence for this.
We've documented the evolution of whales. We've documented the evolution of whales, and we can actually see the nostrils move up.
Yes, we
to
can.
the top of the head as we progress in time. So
yeah, we see that a lot. The way that the nasal structure works in animals, because you can see that move around a lot and how it ends up in weird places. You know, like well, what you may think is a weird place, maybe not. But this again assumes that you have things that have evolved to a certain point and other things that aren't evolving at all, and that's just not the way anything works. Creationists see this as what we're claiming is that humans evolved and then evolution stopped. Here's humans, no more evolution, and then there's going to be something else. But it continues with every single generation.
Yeah.
Evolution is constantly on the move because our environment is constantly changing. And when our environment gradually changes, we can gradually change with it. But whenever you destroy the environment and make huge changes to it that we can't keep up with, you actually create quite a problem for evolution. But not the theory of evolution, but
no, but like for
the
keeping up
that are
with the
evolving
changes, yeah. But then that changes the whole thing, and we have as humans are not necessarily different from everything else in any major way, other than our extremely sophisticated tool use. And so we can actually engineer for ourselves environmental workarounds that could allow us to survive several more generations forward. But if we don't adapt
we don't have to
alongside,
evolve.
we may actually pause evolution for our own species to a degree, right?
We don't have to evolve that much because we adapt the environment to our needs instead of having to adapt to
So
environment's
that
needs.
would result in stasis, which is one of the main tenets of evolution. You're not pausing evolution. Those, even if even if we remained the same form for millions and millions of years, right? If we had no changes to our morphology,
Yeah.
we would still have changes, even if we were perfectly fit to our environment, because you still have mutations.
Oh no, I know, I
some of
agree
those
with that. I
mutations are
just
going to
mean
be
that we wouldn't have to make you wouldn't wipe out certain people without a genetic trait because they couldn't survive through a major environmental change. Is all I meant by that. Not
if
that we would stop
yeah,
evolution completely. It is a poorly chosen word.
if humans lived long enough, you could actually, instead of like crossbreeding animals to get breeds that you want, you could adjust their environment to control evolution uh, through unnatural selection, right? You could
Yeah.
yeah, you could actually you could use the environment to create the breeds that you wanted, which would be really neat, I think. But perfectly plausible idea.
Well, yeah, because like
There's
you'd have to have
this
ones
thing
that
that
could only survive in a certain area or certain.
Yeah.
there's this thing where we're still evolving. So the Dutch, as you may well know, are the tallest people on the planet. And I've come up with a hypothesis on why that is, because we live in a tiny country with 17 million people. So when you go out in the streets, there are a lot of people about, and you can't see anything. So you have to get on your toes in order to see where you're going. So we've evolved to be taller, so we can look over the other people when we're going out. I haven't had a Nobel Prize for that. Yeah, I haven't had a Nobel Prize for that yet, but I'm
You're working. You're
still
working on
hoping.
that one, eh?
Well, you're
Yeah,
in
I'm
a book
working on it.
already. I mean,
I thought it was so you could change the blades on the windmill without a ladder.
And that too, that also helps.
yeah,
That also helps.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, why haven't we just evolved wings then, as they say?
I don't know.
Well,
Because it
don't
would violate the
Well-
theory of evolution. That's why.
Well,
I mean,
we're still
I'm not
tetrapods,
going
right?
to say, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm pretty sure that everyone remembers from a long, long time ago there was this thing called the Flying Dutchman.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
it's
still
everyone's
a
heard of
thing. See?
that. Yeah.
It even made it to so when we founded the KLM, the Royal Dutch Airlines, the earliest planes had it written on the side of the plane, the Flying Dutchman,
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah, there was a hotel near where I'm from, like an hour out of town, that was called the Flying Dutchman, and I don't know why that hotel was called that, but it's not there anymore. The building might be, but the hotel is long gone. And it's not. It's
So
definitely
what
not
you're
called
saying?
that.
So what you're saying? It took off.
It took off. Well, the building didn't, but the sign took off. And,
The Flying Dutchman took off.
yeah. Yeah, and there is a lot of Dutch settlers in this area of Canada. Not the one I'm in so much, right this minute, but a little bit further up the road from here. A lot of Dutch people came here to escape from some of the shit that was going on a while back that we're not allowed to talk about on YouTube.
Sumami said something here that was supposed to be a joke, I think, but is actually a very valid point. I evolved to be little so I can weave through you tall fuckers in the crowd. It may be that could actually be beneficial.
For sure.
Yeah. So your environment doesn't just mean your environment, like the land and the natural environment around you. It's also the people and the species that you're around. A lot of times they evolve to be defensive and things like this, and this could absolutely be a defensive thing that because you're able to move around and stuff within those crowds, you're more likely to make it to your mate and reproduce. That would absolutely push evolution to that point. And then there could be a beneficial both ways. It doesn't have to all be one thing, right? Humans could both evolve to do both those things. There's multiple races of humans. I'm not talking about black and yellow and brown and all those things. I'm talking about
like the different hominins that have
Yes,
existed, or
yes.
yeah, like
The
and I believe there's actually I know Peter was joking about being tall in the Netherlands, but and you know, there's obviously some genetic predisposition that's worked its way down the line for taller
oh yeah,
people
yeah.
being successful in their mating in the Netherlands, and that, you know, and the more of them that are situated there, you end up with more and more tall people mating. It's kind of the way it's going to work out. But if I'm not mistaken, there are people that live in mountainous regions that tend to be shorter, and I don't know if it's actually true, but I heard that the hypothesis was they're shorter because the air is thinner, and so being a little bit closer to the ground makes it easier to breathe.
Well,
And they, you know, I don't know if that's true, but it does make some sense. If you were a foot closer to the ground and the air's that thin, you might just have an adaptive advantage
so
over someone
so
taller and just not make it to mating age.
I'm gonna completely murder this word here, but
Okay.
Denisovians.
The Denisovans?
I'm gonna
Denisovans.
say it wrong.
I think
Anyway,
I heard it well
so
enough to think I know what you're talking about, and I'm probably
Yeah,
pronouncing it incorrectly as well.
so
oh, it's
over
Denisovans.
what's the name of the country where Mount Everest is?
Nepal?
Yes,
Or,
Nepal.
yeah,
yeah.
I think it's Nepal.
So over in Nepal, whenever we looked at their genome, we noticed that they had actually crossbreeded with other races of humans, right? So
Yeah.
and those humans were known to kind of live in the mountains and stuff of that area. So it may be that we pick up some of those beneficial traits from the other races, and in that area, they found lots of people that all carried the genetic markers of having uh, genes that were passed down from other races of
Mm.
humans. So absolutely a thing, and a really unique
Maybe
thing.
maybe my brain isn't working like everyone else's brain, but I'm still stuck on you, Joe, saying that tsunami has a beneficial advantage to procreate. I think that if tsunami procreates, and we get flooded on YouTube with a whole lot of tsunami offspring, I don't think a whole lot of people on YouTube in the chat could survive that.
Hey,
I'm just
hey,
saying.
You don't think we could survive the Sioux babies?
I
Sumami
mean,
has. Let me say something about Sumami real quick. Sumami has absolutely showed up at the right time on a few of my streams here recently, and
Oh yeah.
that last guy was like, why this and that, and I was like, look, me and Sumami don't agree about everything, but I understand her position, and she's not wrong, you know, like so
and seeing her in chat always makes for a whole lot of good fun if you got some
yeah,
creationists
yeah.
in there.
Hmm.
So
See, for the longest time, Sumami wouldn't come around here because things. But the eventually she started showing up after things progressed. So I was really happy to have Sumami here because she is a lot of fun in chat. She, you know,
yes,
and we've talked over at Gather and stuff, and I've talked to Sumami a number of times, and she cares a lot about these things and is passionate about it. And if
hmm
sometimes that results in an emotional outburst of sorts, it's not necessarily uncalled for, you know, like, and I want her to be able to say the things that she wants to say about that, because they need to be said sometimes, you know, like,
I don't always agree with Tsumami, but
oh,
I love the fact that she doesn't back down for
yeah,
anyone, and
no,
that's, I mean,
she's just me
seeing a
too.
tiny
So.
seeing a tiny woman scare men off, I actually enjoy seeing that. Obviously,
Sumami has, and it's not like she's just that way with like people who are on the right or only men or whatever. I mean, she's cussed the shit out of me too. I mean, like, well, she didn't cuss
hmm
me a whole lot, just a little bit, but she yelled at me and stuff. And this has happened a number of
and
times.
at me.
But that's
So
okay because like it gives you those things to think about, and there's a positive into that. You know, like I may not agree, but that's okay. Like you've still given me your perspective, which that's valuable. That's one of the most valuable things we have
And
here.
and one of the things that I like is she can yell at you, but you still walk away after that being friends. And
Yes.
so that's something that I really appreciate. You don't have to agree with me on everything. And I say stupid shit every once in a while. So yeah, you can actually come after me. That's not going to be a problem.
Sumami
So
and I had a heated argument over on Stephanie Helm's channel, and absolutely, I disagreed with her position. Towards the end of it, I understood it better though, and wasn't completely in disagreement anymore. But even after that argument, we're like, hey, we're still friends. I know what you're about, and like there's let's go on, and we do, and that's one thing that we have that makes this space so amazing, right? Is because
yes.
you can challenge me and tell me I'm wrong, and we can get mad and fight about it. You can come on here, Peter. You came on here and criticized one of my conversations. Oh no, you were taking up for me actually. You were taking up for me for the other people that were criticizing a conversation, and that's perfectly okay.
I I I have criticized one of your guests who then
Yeah, yeah,
guest he was in chat and then he came on and he was
yeah.
really upset.
And there's a history
And
there and all that, and like okay, but everybody moves on, and we're all still friends. Like we may not hang out with particular people or whatever, like, but we still all appreciate the conversation and the perspective that each person's giving, because we're not tied to some religious doctrine and dogma that doesn't allow us to even question those things. So
Yeah.
no, and if someone disagrees with you, it's a good reason to start rethinking your own position and seeing what the other person is saying and seeing whether or not you need to revise your position. And I have been known to do that at times.
I've done it a
So
number of times. I've both
yeah.
made streams correcting wrong things that I've said, and if somebody says, like in chat, and it's happened with Ember a couple times actually, and Maya also, where I've said something and they're like, "Hey, this thing you're saying is wrong," and I'm like, "Okay, they've said I'm wrong. I'll go look and check this out after the stream, and if I'm wrong or right or whatever, I'll post something letting everybody know what the correction is," and I've done that because I'm
Yeah.
honest.
It's
Yeah.
one of the most important things in
Yeah.
holding any position. I absolutely agree that it's and Sumami and I don't, if we've disagreed on things, I just don't specifically remember. But that's there's always time in the future to disagree, and I'm sure Sumami might be yelling at me right now to say, how did you not remember this disagreement we had? But
Yeah.
I do know she's a great person and an absolutely passionate advocate for the things she believes in, and that is worth a lot right there, and
Yeah.
also someone you
Yeah.
can learn a lot from. But we can all learn a lot from each other in many regards. We all live different lives and have different experiences, and I have many times felt very thankful to have a fairly diverse group of friends, especially friends I've met through this process, because the internet opens you up to people that are geographically more diverse. And there's a bit of a lack of language diversity in that I speak English and I speak some French. Peter's here as someone from the Netherlands where they're really good at learning multiple languages, actually, and English being one of them. You often meet Dutch people that speak, read and write absolutely amazingly in English as well as other languages. And Brainless, a couple of months ago, Brainless checked out some Norwegian thing. I had translated something to Norwegian. He said he could understand a lot of the words, and I'm like, I could only understand like maybe 1% of the words coming out of it, and I think it got it right, but all I could do was translate it by like a computer program. And I can't remember what possessed me to do that, but that's a super big tangent. But you learn a lot from people from around the world. They have different customs, they have different things that they do, but we're all people, but we all have lived very diverse lives in a lot of ways. But we're all humans, and we all have certain experiences that are pretty fundamental to being human. And I think the othering of other groups that is so prevalent today, and has been for a long time, but it seems like a newly developed message where everyone wants everyone to hate everyone else and have this great suspicion of people, and the xenophobia, the racism, the anti-LGBTQ plus, all of this is meant to sow, this sort of suspicion of everyone else, and it's absolute nonsense. And we would all be friends if we all learned to know and respect one another, and we could still disagree, but if you're not taught that someone being an outsider is a reason to not treat them as human and not respect them, which is what a lot of this is. And I was thinking about the shunning that exists in my ancestral culture of the Mennonites. If you break with the church, your family has to, unless they want to also be shunned and cast out, must shun you, which means they turn their backs on you, quite literally in some cases, and also send you out into the world, like you're no longer welcome here. Yeah. Or just never speak to you again, even if they don't turn you out in the cold. Like maybe they wait till the spring so you don't freeze to death. But they literally won't never speak to you again. And that's a scary thing for a person to lose. And I'm glad that most of the people in our community don't want to just cast people out and never give them the time of day, and are willing to have conversations that are progressive and develop on things, and see that not everybody has the same opinion for oftentimes a very good reason. And it might not be a super well-informed opinion, or it may be overly well-informed. Whatever the case, we have to respect one another and respect each other's humanity as a very base starting point. And remembering that, when you talk about having disagreements, I love arguing with people about things that are interesting. And I love learning new shit. And that brings us back full circle to what we were talking about with these other numbskulls here, telling us to stop thinking and just accept what they're saying. And bullshit, I'm not going to do that. And I love it when somebody says, hey, think about it this way.
Yeah, yep. I mean, so there's a lot in, there's been a lot of events where it's like, I don't want to speak to this person or have anything to do with this person that wants to argue about this thing, because they they're racist or bigots or whatever. And there is a difference in not platforming something like that and not being willing to have a conversation on a topic with someone. I'm willing to talk about one of these topics with just about anybody. I mean, I've talked to Kent Hovind twice. Kent Hovind, super nice guy. His people, incredibly easy to work with, incredibly friendly and nice. Kent tells dad jokes before the stream starts. Of course he does. But Kent is a horrible person, right? Like, I'm not trying to say that Kent should be promoted and platformed and all that, but he has a huge following, and it's important to push back in front of those people. So there's this balance of what are you comfortable doing and how are you doing it, and all those things. If I went to have a talk with Kent and Kent switched the subject immediately to hating on trans people, for example, which is a common thing in those circles. If he switched it, the conversation would be over at that point. Because, like, I'm willing to talk to you about this thing that you're saying that we disagree on, but I'm not willing to entertain all your crazy ideas and stuff that I know you hold. Like, there's a difference. There's a line there, right? Like, some people are intentionally trying to be hurtful to others by having conversations with you. And I don't want to fuck with those people at all. But
well,
I mean,
I'm slightly different. So I'm probably not as bad as Matt Dillahunty, but there are a few people that I will no longer speak to. I mean, if
Well, you know their motive.
you're part of the community, if you're part of the community and you've engaged in revenge porn, there's nothing you can do to make me talk to you ever again, because that's
Yeah,
that's
but I
one
Oh,
of
no,
my
there's
limits.
some
That's,
deal breakers out there, and that
that's not.
doesn't.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good.
there are a
It's a
few.
good point. There are deal breakers, but yeah.
There are a few people. If you have opinions that were similar with the people that messed up my country a while back,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, not going to talk
Yeah, those
to you
people
either.
aren't those people aren't welcome. I guess
No,
they're people.
so
I guess they're people,
I-
but
I-
like they don't seem like it.
yeah, I do have a few people where I think, okay, that's a limit, that's a hard limit for me, and I'm not going to engage with people like that anymore. So
I would like to reach out to the people that don't innately hold that opinion, though, and say, like what is it? What do you base that opinion on? Because a lot of the rhetoric in that conversation, along with a lot of others, comes back to what I said about the sowing of hate and distrust of other people is exactly what all that's about, and that's been a very prevalent talking point. And so it is a very fine line, as Joe says, about walking that tightrope, and trying to balance between bringing attention to the stupidity and the hate and the absolute bullshit that's going on, without being antithetical to the good messages that could be out there, and the recognizing humanity in other people, and knowing that there are people who were taught wrong right from the outset, and trying to bring them in without somehow platforming and giving a megaphone, microphone, whatever you want to have it, and a platform to people that are absolute garbage people.
Well, let me.
That can be a really tough thing to figure out, because you don't know when you've got an absolute leader of the garbage ideas, or whether you've got a truly misinformed person who doesn't know any better and could really use this help to see that those people aren't so bad at all, and they were just misled right from birth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now, Aunt Jar brings up a good one here. The just like Otangelo's mild manner and polite voice is a manipulation tactic. So all of my mods, I think, are aware that I have. If you see Otangelo or one of his sock accounts, that they're to be banned on site, right? Like that. But it's not that I'm saying Otangelo doesn't deserve a right to go speak places. It's just it's not my job to allow him to do that. And because of his actions, because of his dangerous, harmful actions, I'm not willing to at any moment have him come here and be hurtful to other people that are wanting to come learn things and watch things and talk about all this stuff. I'm not willing to let that happen because it's harmful. So there's a difference in will I treat you like a human and will I put you on my platform for you to spread your hate to other people. That there's a big difference there. And
absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
the hardest thing,
there's a gray
Otangelo.
zone in who's on what side of it.
I think the hardest thing Otangelo figured out on the internet is that Titan Uranus and I are mods on a whole lot of channels, and that came to bite him.
Yeah. Titan is mod on my Discord and comes and visits the channel often too. And all of my mods though, PC is my head mod. My mods all know that if you see these certain things, immediately just either tell me and I'll do it or go ahead. And if you doubt it, if you have a question about it, do it and we'll deal with it later. Like, I'm not willing to allow that stuff to go on. It's just not, it doesn't support what my goals and job is here. It doesn't help that in any way. It doesn't progress it. In fact, it's counterproductive to what we're doing here. So, and that person's demonstrated that the only thing that they want to do is be counterproductive and produce hate and all that. So I'm not
and use your chat as their personal platform, which is the thing that I have the biggest problem with, because when you named Otangelo, so whenever he shows up in chat, his first comment will have nothing to do with the content that is going on in the live show at the time. He has his own agenda that he wants to push, and that's the first thing. And so he can go get his own platform.
Yep.
And you know, like with Kent Hovind, there's no reason for me to debate Kent Hovind. I could absolutely just get one of his seminars or videos and just play it and debunk it, and because he says the exact same things, right?
Oh, yeah.
But
he's a CNC.
But my question,
pull a string and let him go.
My question to you guys is: do you think that there is either no benefit to pushing back against the awful things that Kent Hovind's broadcasting, or do you think that it's a net negative to actually go and push back against those things? And let me.
I have a strong opinion on that. So the only thing keeping Kent Hovind relevant now is atheist channels.
No,
because he can't find anyone to debate him anymore. The only people who are debating him now are people with atheist channels. And I honestly wish that they wouldn't do that anymore. Take one of his videos and mock it. That's fine. But I wish people wouldn't engage with him anymore, because if that would happen, his finances would dry up. If he can't show off his debates to his followers anymore, then no one's going to pay him money anymore, because he's not doing anything. All he's doing is asking for money for his dinosaur adventureland where no one goes.
I'm not sure you're correct about that. Kent Hovind has a huge following, and lots of young Earth creationists all across this country and the world quote Kent Hovind and watch his videos and seminars and are homeschooled with his teachings and a number of things. Ambushed Apostate Seth being an example of that. And so the question is then, should we allow, if we step away and we don't push back against Kent and his ideas and
No, I'm not saying it's...
Hold on, let me finish, because I'm going to hit what you're going to say. If we don't demonstrate in front of his own viewers us showing that he is wrong and lying and repeating lies about things that he knows isn't true, if we don't push that in front of his own viewers in real time, doesn't that allow him just to continue to spread that ideology and grow it? I think the pushback is the reason it's shrinking.
Maybe I missed something, but I don't see a whole lot of his following showing up in chats where he's debating people.
They do, absolutely.
If he's
on his channels, they do.
Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of engagement on atheist channels, but I've been kind of bored of.
No,
I've been bored of him recently myself, and maybe that's why I'm missing it. But Standing for Truth. Right?
Standing for Truth had his own followers who were engaging in chat. But if it's just Kent Hovind, and if it's a stream on an atheist channel that he has promoted on his own channel,
right,
you will hardly find creationists in the chat engaging, or because I don't think he has that big of a following anymore.
He's still making millions of dollars. I wouldn't invite Kent here and just do a stream here debating Kent. I would never do it, and I haven't. The debates and stuff.
No, but haven't you
happened in other places?
The debate you did with Kent Hovind, has Kent Hovind mirrored that on his own channel?
Yeah, it was.
I don't think so.
It was live on his channel. The
It was
at the
live on his
time,
channel.
yeah,
at the time.
and the chat was burning up the whole time. It was,
Yeah.
in
See-
fact, at times you couldn't keep up with the chat on his channel. Yeah, so there are lots of people. I'm not saying that it's what it used to be, because it's absolutely not. He's definitely losing followers, but
Mhm.
he still has a lot, and he's still. If we quit pushing back against that, what's Kent do? He does the whack atheist stuff. He continues to push
Yeah.
back against us anyways, and creates new followers and grows his cult.
Yes, but see, and this is what I'm saying is the people that he's whacking on his channel, those are the people that he wants to debate. And those are also the people who refuse to debate him.
Yeah, many times that's true. And I don't disagree with that. If you have, I'm not saying that it's wrong to have like this moral feeling that you shouldn't interact with Kent Hovind. People absolutely should feel that way and do. But I also think that it's worth it's worth the time to go and show in front of his own followers that he's full of shit, and to throw like my whole goal in my last debate with Kent wasn't to win a debate. It was to fuck up his script, and I absolutely succeeded in that. Kent was rambling and mumbling and didn't know where to go with anything because the topic wasn't evolution, right? His slides, he had a few that he pulled up, but he couldn't do anything. So he just sat and said silly things and no, and had to keep saying, yeah, what I believe is a religion, but I think yours is too, and I don't want to pay for it. He got into all that crap. And we've already shown that evolution is not a religion, atheism is not a religion, and all that stuff. And so it's easy to just pull from those things. And my whole goal was just to make Kent look silly. It wasn't to necessarily win the debate or come with a bunch of arguments. I stated at the very beginning of that debate, I did not prepare for this in any way, which I didn't. I had no sources or nothing. I hadn't written an intro. I did nothing. I said like a few sentences or whatever and went on, because my whole plan with that was to kill Kent with kindness and to fuck up his script. And I absolutely succeeded in that. Now, winning debates and things, that's not actually a thing. So my only goal was just to make Kent look silly in front of his audience. And I think he stumbled and it was bad for him. Now I can see though people having a moral problem with doing that. I do, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, but also what happens if I want to make videos just responding to the things Kent said and post them here and not go interact with him. What am I doing? I'm just yelling into the echo chamber. None of his followers are going to come watch this. None of the creationists are going to come, or very, very few. And so by going there and pushing back against him in real time in front of his people, they see that other side of the argument. And if we can grab one or two of those people, not convince them, but just make them curious to go look at the extreme things that Kent's saying. I mean, I drove Kent into claiming things about the Loch Ness monster, which is completely crazy and silly and extreme. So whenever he says those extreme things, it's damaging to the young Earth creationist community because it triggers curiosity. That's crazy. He's bringing up the Loch Ness monster. Maybe I should go look up what he's talking about. And that's where it starts. It has to start there. So
that is a talking point of his, and Joe, I don't want to stop you here, but I just have this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently due to a mutual friend asking me to think. And that's Myer. Myer asked me to think about some stuff. And I've been trying to develop an opinion, not about Kent specifically, who I've never debated directly, and I've maybe talked about him a little bit on my channel, which hasn't been doing a lot because I've been really busy working. But I wrote a song about him, and some people like it, some people don't. Doesn't really matter. I enjoyed writing the song because I point out what a numpty he is and whatnot. But the point that I think is really hard to work out here, and the thing that I don't know that I'm struggling with it because I wouldn't want to platform him, and I agree with your concept that like if you don't put him on a platform, you're not directly platforming him, but it's very hard to not want to point out how his points are and how much of a grifter he is without somehow also drawing attention to his existence.
Exactly.
And I think that's the tough thing, right? Because some people will be drawn to him regardless, and it's a really, really, that's why I called it like a high wire act with a little bit of a gray area, because there's people that are really far on one side or the other, but the people at the edges of that line are, you kind of hope to pull them to the side that you think is the better side, and they'd want to do that too, and that's where the danger is, and the
I,
calling
I'm not
attention to
saying
them is potentially problematic, and it
so.
isn't an easy answer.
I'm not saying that it's not valid to have the position that Peter and many other people have on this. I'm saying I want you to understand that both of these points are valid. That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
For you, you feel that way, and it's not an irrational thing, and you're not wrong. None of the things that either one of you said are wrong, but I just want you to understand there is another valid point you can make, and I can make. We can have a conversation about the moral, uh, uh, in the moral parts of engaging with Kent, and I can argue that position just fine, and I think that we would both make valid points doing that. Let's not do
Oh
that.
yeah.
I'm just
I'm not
saying.
even. I'm not even 100% sure that I'm against you. Like I feel there's value in drawing attention to the folly in the things he says is worthwhile, because there's someone being born every minute of the day, and the last thing I would want is for any of them to grow up thinking anything he says is worth anything at all. And
Absolutely.
I'd love for them to learn about who Kent is from Joe rather than from Kent or any of his sycophants. And some of them are still active and around, and it's not, that's the greatest hits being played all the time, but it's not. So some minds aren't being changed, but also you realize those people have other eyeballs and ears paying attention to them, like his sycophants do, and he seemed to have somehow gotten back on YouTube with his own channel or something recently. I heard something about it, and so he has a platform, or at least pieces of one, and he's all about his grift, and I guess getting into the one door of heaven he thinks is open to only his brand of Christianity, if that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But I also think there's a lot of people that are worried for very good reason that his type of rhetoric and the other people that are like him in the more sophisticated versions of his rhetoric, that are more organized, especially in your country where things are extremely
They're well funded.
politicized, and like religion and politics are so intertwined in a country that is ostensibly about a separation of church and state, but seems to never get there. It's very scary to see, Project 2025, and seeing someone like Mike. I think it's Mike Johnson is the Speaker of your House, and therefore an influential person in politics who has, I mean, he's Kent Hovind in a better suit. It's scary fucking shit, and so I understand that there isn't like this black and white argument here. Not sounding the alarm bell, and also at the same time not platforming and making more people aware of the, like, it's a very tough thing to figure out. That is not it's not a cut and dried situation at all, and I sound like a broken record, but I do find it's a tremendously flummoxing thing. It's almost a paradox. How do you tell people not to engage with this guy without mentioning who this guy is?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I think that each person can have a valid position on that. I just, for me, a person who's been raised and grown up in a young Earth creationist area and believed those things myself for a number of years, for me, it feels like there's a net positive there. Other people may see it as a net negative, but I think you could make the argument both ways, actually.
Yeah.
But for me, that's the thing that whenever I see Kent spreading those things, and I've had local people say, like, I'll say something and they'll give me a link to a Ken Hovind video and say, see, here's the proof. And I'm like, yeah, so for me, it's something that personally I feel the need to sometimes push back against. And I understand that if some people can't support that or they don't want to watch that or what, and I'm okay with that. I accept that. That's fine. The At the end of the day, I mean, I could say, well, this this isn't a democracy. This is my channel. Like,
Well,
I could do all
so
that, but that's not the point I'm making.
let me let me chime in just one more time, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, go
I
ahead.
do have to leave in
I'm gonna wrap up in a minute
few
anyway.
minutes. But so as I said, I think people shouldn't talk to Kent in real life anymore. And am I kind of hypocritical? Yes, because for the last 6 months, maybe even longer, I've been making thumbnails for Big Bad Mama for the videos where he talks to Kent Hovind. So
Right.
I'm not saying I want to force my opinion on you. This is my
don't think
opinion,
Yeah.
and that's purely my opinion.
Absolutely.
Do I lose friends over it when they go talk to Kent Hovind? No, I actually join in and make stupid pictures of Kent Hovind, which
I value
I don't. Joe, did you know that? And that's one thing that I want to say before I leave. Did you know that you have an AI thumbnail creator in YouTube Studio now, where you can actually feed it pictures and tell it to put those people in a specific background, and it will absolutely do that?
it lets you feed it pictures though to do it. Oh, that's
Yes.
amazing. I've wanted something like that for a while now.
Yes,
But-
so you can have a picture of you and your guest. The only thing what you need to do is make sure that the last picture you feed it is in a 16:9 format, because that's what the output format is going to be.
Right.
But it works.
So,
it works great.
I've got,
I've made several of Kent Hovind being arrested by the police for stealing fossils in a strip mall, just because you can. It's
yeah.
and it works. It works really well.
Maya, because of this, I'm bringing my political show back next week, so that will be going on again. But the no. So I've got the way that this is. I put a generic thumbnail on this because I didn't have like a proposed guest or whatever, and that would be great for that. I've got templates that I use for my thumbnail now, like so I can just go into Adobe, switch out the person in the picture, remove their background, and go on and make it real quick, right? And I've got some decent thumbnails and stuff that I use that are all branded to the Kentucky Atheist brand with the collars and all that crap. And so I use those, but I've wanted something like that for a while to use to do for streams like this, precisely like this. So thanks for letting me know that. I knew that there was an AI thing there, but I didn't know you could do what you just said, which is what I wanted. So awesome.
Yes, you can.
But-
you can make really awesome things with that.
So
Yeah.
so let's just go ahead and let me wrap up real quick, and you can get out of here, or you can go ahead and leave if you need to, Peter. But I'll go ahead and I'm going to plug a few things and talk about your channels and what's coming up, and I'll end the show. We had some fun looking at some of the creationist claims in the video today, and that's all fine and well. It was kind of layup stuff, but it's fun to do that. We come together. Al and Peter came here to hang out and talk about these things and laugh at it. I seen the chat was having a good time. So, even though this was an old video and I'm not bringing anything new to the table or whatever, it was still a lot of fun to do. I love those. I love those pictures I've looked at those thumbnails and I love them. They're great. Good job. But
so these are some that haven't made it to the channel yet. These are the ones that I created on YouTube.
Yeah.
In the YouTube studio with the new AI.
I seen one similar to that one. I think, but
I think this one was used.
Yeah, on the latest video, I believe. But I was worried that he'd been raptured. No, that's what I said. I said my show was raptured. But yeah, Laura and I will be doing some more stuff soon. She's actually here. Say hi, Laura.
Hello.
Yeah. So we'll be back doing some stuff together here real soon and stuff. She says that she's been enjoying doing these things with me and everything. So I look forward to doing some of those shows. And like I said, we're going to be starting back up the political thing. Robin is more than welcome to come co-host that with me, or anybody else that wants to come speak on the things. The first couple of shows are going to be kind of aggressive and rowdy because I have a lot of things to say that I've been holding in for a minute, and so that's going to be my outlet to do that. I actually created a whole nother channel that I was going to do political content on, but I decided that I didn't want to take the trouble of running 2 channels. I'm just going to do it here. I'm just going to, and if people don't like it, you're welcome to unsubscribe and fuck right off. I don't care. But that's how it is, you know. So I'm going to.
Why would they do that? Because you did political shows already. It's not that it's a new thing.
People left. I don't care.
People left. Oh.
You're welcome to disagree with me, but at the moment that you have to leave because you can't even hear me speak, that means I win. Okay, so go ahead and do what you will. You don't have to watch it. I don't care if anybody watches it. I really don't. That's not the point. In fact, I may just to prove this, we'll just demonetize all those videos. So I don't care. I have some things to say, and I know that there are some people that want to hear them, and those people will hear it because there's some really important stuff going on right now that we've already failed to act on, and so I'm going to say some things. They're making it illegal to even do what I'm doing right now. So
yes,
we're going to talk about all that. I don't want to get deep into that right now because I'm going to get pissed off and emotional, and I have good things to say. So everybody that's here, thank you so much for coming and watching. Come here Saturday at 3 p.m. GE is going to be here, and we're going to talk about mythicism. I've done a lot of research and things on this. This is something a conversation that I am actually prepared to have, and I'm going to bring some new stuff to the table on mythicism that where you can use some math to kind of discount the story of Jesus. There is a mathematical based theory that no one's ever really applied to this, to my knowledge, and we're going to get into it all and stuff. And GE is not only the perfect person for mythicism on that, but this idea also has some basis in computer science, which both of us are experienced in. So this should be a really great conversation. I always have a blast when I talk to GE. Saturday at 3 o'clock, come watch it. Al has already left the building. Peter, you want to talk about what you got going on coming up and all that stuff, and I'll put your link in the chat while you're doing it.
Yeah, so we will be having more conversations with the guy I mentioned earlier, Craig the Creationist, and it's probably going to get more and more insane as we progress. But hey, I'm here for it. As long as he wants to talk, I'll be more than happy to call out his BS. Other than that, I'll be on Jackson's channel again on Thursday, where we will be going over climate change from the university that isn't a university that is. I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. PragerU.
Yeah.
So and then on Saturday there's a show with Arn again. I'm not sure if we're going to have a show with Arn this Thursday. We had one planned, but I'm not sure if that's going to go through, but we'll see. So
yeah. Well,
you can, as always, follow me around on all kinds of channels.
Yeah, definitely. I dropped the link in the chat there. If you don't know who Peter is or whatever, go over there and subscribe. And going to go for it as a channel. Peter puts out a lot of great content, a lot of thoughtful stuff, a lot of research, and has a great production value and works really hard for not only his channel but a number of others. So definitely go over there and support Peter and subscribe and check that stuff out. Jackson Wheat that you mentioned, amazing person in this community also. Yeah. But
yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna get out of here and let everybody go do their thing. Thank you so much for coming and watching. Thank you guys that sent super chats and stuff. if you could, like and subscribe to the video before we get out of here. And if you want to support the channel financially, there's options to do that. You can click the join button. There's a PayPal link. That tip thing has been rolling through chat the whole time. You can do it in a number of ways. If you want to do that, you don't have to though. Subscribing would be the.
And if you have a hype button, hype the video.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think we had a good talk today, and I'm happy with it. Yeah, I'm gonna play the little outro here, and have a good one, everybody.